Right, here we go. Okay, guys, so good evening. Welcome to everybody. Tonight, we are having our psychology session. Let me just, at least you guys can see me. There we go. All right, so tonight we're having psychology session, psychological lab, lesson number 2. You cannot control the market. How many of you guys can remember what was last week's topic? What was pillar number 1? Let's see there in the comment section. How many of you guys can remember what was pillar number 1? Guys, what was pillar number 1? I was like, oh my gosh. That was a mistake. How many of you guys can remember what was pillar number 1? Okay, guys, so pillar number 1 was losses are unavoidable. Okay, so that is lesson number 1. Losses are part of trading, so losses are unavoidable. Okay, you're going to experience losses, guys. Now, for tonight, we are going to look at you cannot control the market, guys. Okay, so let's jump away. Now, trading truth number 2 of 20, because there are 20 trading truths that we will be going through in the psychological lab, and each one is very important because whether you might be battling with one or you might be battling with multiple of them, maybe you might not be battling with any of them right now, but at some point in your trading journey, you are going to confront these, and unfortunately, I cannot say that you'll ever stop confronting them, because as you grow, other things, will grow with you. And unfortunately, you will always stand in the mirror and face these realities. The difference is just as you get better as a trader, you tend to, are not subject. You don't feel these as heavy as you used to. Now, the important part to remember, truth number 2 is you cannot control the market. You can only control yourself. Okay. Very, very important to remember. So what is our learning objectives out of this one, guys? By the end of this lesson, you will understand why traders try to control the market. You will discover how a need for control affects your decisions in trading. Okay, so you'll discover that what those control, how it affects your trading decisions. You'll identify areas in your own life where control has become a coping mechanism. You'll learn what you can and cannot control as a trader, and you will build confidence by focusing only on what is in your control. Okay, now let's continue. So, have you ever had the following thought? If I wait just a little longer, maybe I should move my stop loss. I'll close early to protect my profits. If I analyze one more time frame, I will know for sure. These aren't strategy problems. They're control problems. Okay, so how many of you guys have experienced one of these? If not all of them, but at least 1 or 2 of them. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you see, a lot of the times you think that you have a strategy problem, right? You're like, oh, well, and this is when we hop to another strategy because, I need to find that right strategy that is going to give me that emotional support that I'm looking for. When in actual fact, you are trying to control things that are not there, guys. Okay, and as long as you're trying to control things outside of that, you are consistently going to feel stuck. Now, here is the biggest lie traders believe. If I become good enough, I'll never lose again. The truth, guys, the truth is professional traders lose every week. We lose on a regular basis. In the 30-trade challenge, you've lost 2 trades already this week. We won one yesterday and you lost on Monday and on Wednesday. Now you're feeling it. You're like, oh my gosh, is this going to pan out? Is this actually going to work? The difference is they don't try to eliminate. We don't try to eliminate losses, guys. they learn from them. So we learn from our losses. Was it an emotional problem? Was it a personal? What caused this to happen? Okay, so it's very, very important for you to frame your mind around this. So now the question is, why do we then crave control? So since we now know that it's not a strategy problem, why do we crave this control? Because the need for control usually begins long before you started trading. So how many of you guys have ever had any financial hardships? What about family instabilities? Broken trust? Has anybody ever broken trust with you? Have they promised you something and they never kept it to you? Have any of you guys had any childhood uncertainties? Maybe past failures? You dismally failed at certain things? Did you grow up in a home where if you made a mistake, you would have faced the consequences, which created a fear of making mistakes? And now you are craving that control. Because guess what? When life feels unpredictable, control feels safe. When I cannot control the trade, my brain needs to make me feel safe. And that's when I start moving my stop loss and I start doing all funny things that I'm not supposed to do because I'm trying to control. I want to feel, please make me feel safe again. Have you guys ever noticed that when you're in the trade, it sucks, man? But the moment that you either move the stop loss or you close the trade, have you ever felt a sense of relief? It's almost like, it's almost like, wow, I'm actually feeling pretty good now. So if you are having that feeling every single time you close a trade or you move, then you are battling with control. You are battling with it. Now, am I saying that you can overcome it and you'll never feel it again? Absolutely not. There are times, sometimes when I look at a trade, I'm like, I need to move my stop because I'm feeling uncomfortable with this position. And then maybe it might, especially after a losing streak, you might feel extremely, this will become even worse after a losing streak. It will become even worse when you come close to a payout. It's going to come very close. You're also going to feel it when you come close to winning or passing your prop firm. Absolutely. That's the reality, guys. It's for that moment, and then what happens? Then the trade works out, and then you beat yourself up because why did I do that? Why didn't I just leave the trade? It's because you're trying to control things that are not there, that you cannot control. So we bring that into trading now. So if we understand that those are the psychological things that we have, because without realizing it, you start believing the following. If I analyze more, I sit on the group with you guys all the time. If I just took this trade, look at this, if this page just and the reason why I'm leaving you guys to go through it is because that, believe it or not, the group is telling me a lot about you as a trader individually. That's why the group is open for you guys to talk and to share ideas, because within that we're able to pick up certain things that you are doing, certain things that you are saying, and that helps us to guide you in the right direction. How many of you guys have said, well, if I just do this, I'll avoid that loss. If I just move my stop loss and I just do this, then I'm going to avoid the loss. If I watch every single candle, if I stick to this chart and I sit here today, I will not, this is going to be a good trade. I'll never miss an opportunity if I do this. If I move my stop loss, I'll save the trade. You watch me. You know what? If I do this, then I'm going to save this trade. I will turn this trade from a negative to a positive. Guys, that is not confidence. It is simply your fear wearing a specific disguise. It's because you're afraid of losing. You're afraid of being wrong. You're afraid of losing control over your trade. And that scares the bajingies out of you. So here is the cold, hard truth. Trading doesn't reward control. Trading rewards preparation, discipline, patience, risk management, and consistency. Not prediction, not perfection, and not certainty. Okay, so I'll say that again, guys. Preparation, discipline, patience, risk management, and consistency. Longer you focus on those and get better at them, 1% every single week, not huge jumps, just small incremental steps, you will achieve the level of success you're looking for. Now, I'm going to share with you guys tonight the story of the farmer. Okay. The story of the farmer. Once there was a farmer, but a beautiful piece of land, absolutely wonderful. He loved waking up every single day. It was a beautiful place. So now, this farmer obviously loves farming. But in farming, he had to learn that there are things that he can control and things that he cannot control. Now, the first thing he had to control, or he had to learn to let go of, is he's not in control of the rain. He's not in control of the sunshine. He does not control the wind, and he sure as heck does not control the season. So now, if he's not in control of all of these things that makes him a successful farmer, because what makes a farmer successful is what he produces, isn't it? If he's a potato farmer and he's not growing potatoes, he's not a very successful potato farmer. If he is a cattle farmer and he doesn't have enough pastures and there's the things for his cattle, and his cattle die on him, and he doesn't expand and grow his cattle and make it more, he's a bad cattle farmer. So he had to learn very early on that there's certain things that he cannot control. But every day, what would he do? Does he now just sit and then wait for the sun to shine? Does he wait for the rain to come or the wind to blow? No. Every day he wakes up, he prepares the soil. He decides where he's going to do what. He plants the seed because that's the control he has. That's the only control he has. Where am I going to put the seed? He waters the crops. So if there is not enough rain, he potentially gives it a little bit more water and stuff. He protects the harvest. So he walks around the field, puts up fences, to protect what he's busy building. And then he does something very important. He trusts the process because he has done what he could do. That is all that he could do. He looked where he could plant. He protected what he could plant. He prepared the soil and he put the seeds in the soil. Trading is exactly the same, guys. Absolutely the same. Okay, there is nothing more that you can control. If you prepare to start trading, you look for your setup, you find your setup, and you take the opportunity. It's either going to work out or it's not going to work out. You have done what you can do. Okay, so just like a farmer, you have to learn to let go of the things that you cannot control, because it will drive you insane to try. Can you imagine if that poor farmer has to wake up every single day and he has to stress about when is the rain coming? When is the sun going to shine? When is the wind going to blow? Is the seasons going to be late or are they going to be early? He cannot control that. So what does he do? He focuses on the things that he can control. So what is your job as a trader? So what should you focus on? Your responsibility is not to control the outcomes. Your responsibility is to follow your plan, respect your risk, execute consistently, review your performance, and repeat the process. Okay, follow your plan, respect your risk, execute consistently, and review your performance. Now, you would agree with me as I share with you guys, the farmer doesn't know how much potatoes he will have. The farmer doesn't know how much corn he will have. The farmer doesn't know how much peanuts or whatever. He cannot even control how much cattle. So if he has a cattle or he has sheep, he cannot even control how many of his sheep will actually have sheep, right? He cannot predict any of those things. But those are the things that everybody wants to predict. The same thing in trading. I want to predict, I want to predict this is a winning trade. This is a losing trade. This is a winning. I want to be able to predict which ones are my winners and which ones are my losers. You can't do that. It doesn't work that way. It will drive you insane to try and predict that. And that's where all of this predictive stuff comes. Same with news. Oh, what is the prediction? Are we going long or are we going short? the odds are 50-50. So, I mean, if I make 100 calls, at least 50% of the time I'm going to be correct. And then everybody's going to think, oh, Marnie is a guru. She's absolutely amazing. No, I'm not really that good. I just use the law of average in my favor. That's pretty much what I did. See, guys, it's about it's about understanding to focus on the right things in trading, not to focus on winners or losers, to focus on the process and make sure that you've got a well-defined plan. You manage the risks and you stick to the plan. That's what the 30 trade challenge is about. Or ideally for you guys, not just the challenge, but the 20 EMA strategy. It has proven itself over 7 years, almost 7 years of trading. The question is, are you going to trust it or not? That's what you must decide. So I call this the circle of control. This is something that I coined, which I took from my understanding, which I took from everything that I've been taught, and I created and I called it it's the circle of control. There is what you can control and what you cannot control. Okay, and you need to put the things that you can control in the right circle and the things that you cannot control in the other circle. So you can control preparation, you can control position sizing, you can control entries, you can control exits, you can control your journal, you can control your discipline, and you can control your emotional responses. Do you see? I didn't say control your emotions, emotional responses. When the fear hits, there's something that you can do. When you start getting excited, there's something that you can do. When you start feeling like anxiety, there's something that you can do. So you are reacting to the emotional responses that you're having. Now, what are the things that you cannot control? You cannot control the news. You cannot control the banks. You cannot control the institutions. You cannot control liquidity. You cannot control volatility. And very important, you cannot control the next candle. Okay, you cannot, and you cannot control the outcomes. And as long as you are trying to control these, as long as you're trying to predict the top and predict the bottom and get the right things and buy up 7 more indicators, because if that indicator can just show me where the bottom is, if that indicator can just improve this for me. Okay, guys? So put the things in the right bracket. There are things that you can control and things that you cannot control. Put them in the right bracket. Now, you might ask yourself, where do I get the circle of control? There is a beautiful diagram that you're going to be finishing up in your assessment, which I will share with you guys just now. I will show you guys what where you can find your assessment thingy, and then you can take it from there. Why am I not seeing this person that wants to do? Let me just have a look here. Hello. Oh, there we go. Okay, so guys, this is very, very important to remember. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys now where your workbook is and then what you're going to do on your workbook. So how does control show up in trading? Because I think it's very important for you to understand when are you losing control and when you are not losing control. Do you ever move your stop loss? Do you guys move your stop losses? You guys always ask me, I want to be like Marnie. Marnie knows. She knows that this trade is going to hit her stop loss. She knows it. And yet she leaves the trade. Why in her mind would she know that this trade is turning against her and she left it? Because I understand something that a lot of other traders don't understand. I have experienced enough to understand that statistics is what holds the weight, not my personal opinion. How many of you guys close trades early? Do you hesitate before entering? You're like, I don't know. How many of you guys overanalyze? Yes, but Marnie, I'm not you guys, but I'm talking about the guys on TikTok. How many of you guys, in TikTok? Yeah, but Marnie, did you not see the head and shoulders on the 4 hour, and there's an order block on the 15-minute, and there is a upside down, I don't know, chicken leg on the 1 day, and we are making a fair value gap on the 60-second. Okay, so how many more analysis do you wanna throw into it? How many more things do you wanna get in there? How many of you guys change your strategy the moment that the losses start coming? You're like, Oh no, this thing is not going to work for me. If you guys are watching every candle print, because if I just keep watching those candles, every single one of them, I will know when the market will turn against me. And then I'll jump out of the trade. These are all signs of you trying to control uncertainty. And as long as you're trying to control uncertainty, you will be stuck. You will be stuck in that loop. Make money, lose money, make money, lose money, and you'll never get to that point. Get a prop firm, pass a prop firm, lose a prop firm. Get a prop firm, pass a prop firm, lose a prop firm. Because you're trying to control the things that are not in your control. Okay, guys? Very, very important. Now, what are the emotional costs of control? These are the painful ones. These are the ones that destroy people. So when you are trying to control everything, this is what happens. You increase your stress levels. That's why so many people in the financial sector and the money sector dies of heart attacks, dies of high blood pressure. They get high blood pressure, and then they either get a heart attack or they actually get I think it's an aneurysm or embolism that forms, anxiety, constant anxiety, burnout. That's why everybody's always asking, why do we not see any billionaires that are traders? Because if there's if any person trades themselves to a billionaire, they are going to, they're most probably already in the grave. Okay, because the traders that made it long-term understood these things, and they understood what to let go of. And then they also realized that in order for me to make it long-term, I have to let go of these fantasies of making this exorbitant amount of money, and I should start seeing it as a money-making activity instead of trying to do it. I mean, I was watching an interview with one of the institutional traders. They were having an interview with him, and he said, in his interview, he actually said that when he was in a drawdown, he would literally look at the drawdown when he gets to his desk, run back to the bathroom and vomit for like 10 minutes. He says he couldn't handle it. Every time he got back to his table and he would see that level of drawdown, because he was trading other people's money, he would become so nauseous that he'll run back to the bathroom. And he said he did this for weeks. He lost, I don't know how much kilograms, weeks with the drawdown that he was going to, because psychologically he couldn't manage that level of drawdown. Overtrading, fear, revenge trading, lack of confidence, and ironically, the harder you try to control the market, the more control it gains over you. You guys ever notice that? I said that's why I sent you guys the video of those traders that blew up their accounts. Because the harder you try and control this thing, the more you're trying to squeeze it, the less it works. It's the same thing with water, guys. And I love to use this analogy with water. How do you, if you were to take water and you'd pick up water right now, you'd pick up water like this, and you try and hold it in your hand like this, and you try and squeeze it. How much water is going to be in your hand? Nothing. You can't hold water like that, guys. No matter how hard you grab. Same thing with sand. No matter how much the sand you try and grab it, if you grab the sand and you're trying to hold it tight, the more you're trying to put grip on it, the more it is coming out. But how do you hold water? How do you hold sand? By putting your two hands together and then scooping it and holding it and just allowing it to fill up the space. It's the same thing with trading, guys. The more you try and squeeze, the less it will work. You need to let go of what you cannot control and only manage the things. Create the cup, create the space to hold what you are building. Okay, guys? So you need to shift your mindset. Instead of asking, how can I make sure I win? Ask yourself, did I execute my plan correctly? Execution, not outcome. That's why you have a habit tracker. That's why you're looking at certain things in your life right now. Because a lot of the times, it's not just in our trading that we are performing these activities, it's across the board. In our personal life, our relationships, everything. We have the same tendency and we have to learn to let go, guys. So here is a moment of reflection for you. Ask yourself honestly, where in life do I struggle to let go? Do I fear uncertainty? Do I believe mistakes define me? What am I trying to control that I simply can't? Okay, now I know that they're in our free reflection. These things will all be in your workbook, which you guys can work through and you can go through. Okay, so what is today's challenge, guys? Today's challenge is very simple. So for the next 5 trades, before entering that trade, ask yourself, am I following my plan? Or am I trying to control the outcome? And I want you to write the answer in your trading journal, because all of you guys are going to go on the 30 trade challenge and you guys are going to be taking more trades. And I want you to answer that to yourself. Did you follow the plan from the beginning to the end, or did you not follow the plan? And then write that for the next week's trade. So all the way until next week's psychological session, which will be 5 trades, I want you guys to go and write this down. Okay, so what are the key takeaways, guys, for tonight? Is you cannot control the market. You control your behavior. Okay, so from today, you're going to control yourself. Risk management creates confidence. Discipline creates consistency. And consistency creates probability. Okay, this is the part that most traders forget to remember when things get hard. Is probability can only lean in your direction if you are consistent and you are disciplined and you manage risk. It's exactly what I showed you guys in the 30 trade challenge when I did that simulation, where I showed you guys if you start moving your positions and you start adjusting things, the next moment you take a profitable strategy into unprofitability because your emotions took over. And this one trade, you're constantly looking for that golden carrot, that golden thing that is going to make it. The more important part is stick to the strategy, stick to what is working, and just do what is working. That's why you'll see on the 30 trade challenge when I mean, let's be honest, the guys that have already finished the first 30 trades, you guys are smiling today because you guys knew. The reason why we don't take Wednesday's trade is because, how did we know, guys? How did we, did I consult my crystal ball this morning when I said I'm not going to be taking? Thank you, Lauren. Stats, guys, stats. I didn't consult my crystal ball this morning. I know Wednesdays are bad for the strategy at this moment, guys. So what do? We just discontinue Wednesday until we can see in our statistics something is changing. Last year it was Thursday. This year it's Wednesday, guys. It's Wednesday. At first, everyone thought, no, the trade is going in our direction. If I show you all the Wednesdays before them, they all went in our direction until they didn't. And then what do? Yeah, but let me take my profit off the table because now I know that Wednesdays are not good. Why don't you just don't trade on a Wednesday? But for the guys that are doing the challenge there the first time, you've got to check. Absolutely, Lauren. Adjust, guys. And this is what makes a profitable trader and what the difference between a trader and a robot is. A trader can make a slight adjustment from week to week. You can do different things. You can look at your stats differently. Where robots and all these automation stuff, it cannot be done. It is a massive process for you to change things. It is a massive thing for you to change the outcomes, guys. And that's why I prefer to work with traders than robots, because traders, you got the emotional things, but that's they're a lot better long term to work with people and to trade with people because they have the ability to learn and to pivot where the others cannot do it. Okay. So now, what is my final thought, guys? You guys know I love my final thoughts. I love these quotes. The strongest traders aren't the ones who predict the future. Does not predict the highs or the lows or where the market's going to go. They're the ones who remain disciplined regardless of what the future brings. So guys, what is our assignment for this week? We need to complete the circle of control workbook exercise before you can move on to your next lesson. Okay, guys. So that's all for tonight. That is the second pillar. We are now finished with the second pillar. So let me take you guys through the workbook so you guys have an idea. Yes, Sipo, ask away.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, Marin, thank you so much for the information and motivation at the same time.
It is a pleasure.
Yes, ma'am, you know what? I'm having a problem. My problem is
Yes.
I have sent my, sorry to not be in line with what you were teaching, but I just saw this opportunity. Uh, I have sent my email address and screenshot of the account, but it seems like we haven't responded on it, and I haven't received any material on the 30 days trading.
Okay, Sipo, do me a favor. I will check before we are done. As soon as we're done with tonight's session, just stay on the Zoom afterwards so I can quickly sort you out. Okay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. All right, guys. So can you guys see the next? So this will be module number 2, the circle of control. Here it is. So this is what I believe, what I can control, what I cannot control, and you are in between these two spheres. So there's what you can control, what you cannot control, and the only thing that is going to cause you to flip between these two is what you choose with your discipline, what you choose in your consistency, and what you choose in your growth. You cannot control the market, but you can control how you show up in it. Okay, guys. So assignment 2 here, you got the circle of control. So it's just going to give you the breakdown of that. Here's going to be the instructions. Okay, so important, be honest, guys. Nobody else is seeing this except you and me if you want me to see it. Okay, this is a process of you. There's some of the guys that do send me the stuff and say, hey, Marin, don't you want to have a look at it? Don't you want to give me some, what do you think? And then I will do that. So what you're going to do is part 1 is you're going to create your circle of control. Okay, so I want you to imagine 2 circles. You've got an inner circle and an outer circle, right? The inner circle represents everything you can control. The outer circle represents everything you cannot control. So what I want you to do is your first circle, things I can control. Here are some examples. I want you to write down 10. Yeah, but Marin, I can't think of 10. Well, you're going to sit hard and long and think of 10 of them. Okay, so think about all these things in trading. What are the things in trading that you can control? And I want you to take, and I want the 10 because I want you to sit and I want you to go through yourself and I want you to go through everything. Okay? And I want you to write them down, understand them, get to know yourself a lot better. Okay, circle number 2, the things I cannot control. I've given you some examples here. Write down 10 of them. 10 things I can control, 10 things that I cannot control. Okay, guys, it's very important to sit there and to delve deep and understand yourself, because here's the important part, guys. From next week, we are moving away from the traditional type of, where we're talking about the mind and the whys and stuff. From next week, we're starting with the technical side. So you've got to have this foundation in place, guys. Yes, the psychological assessments the psychology lab will carry on with all of the psychological stuff. But from the strategy side, we're moving more towards the technical side, how everything works, how everything is designed and stuff. So you've got to do these things, guys. You've got to understand yourself. Take the time to do it. Okay, part 2 is your self-reflection. So answer which list was easier to complete. So out of the 2, which ones? Then you answer these 5 questions. Okay. Trust me, they're all structured in a very, very interesting way. Part number 3, the biggest realization. So what are the things that you took out while you were doing this? What are the things that you've learned that through this process now about yourself? Okay. Then you're going to create your trading promise. Okay. So I want you to take the time with this. Go through it, print it, put it up somewhere, whatever you want to do, but create the circle of control commitment. Okay. So remind yourself. So every time that you feel like you want to control certain things, you come back and you read this. Okay. And you remind yourself, I'm not here to predict the market. I'm not here to do anything. I'm here to just be consistent, show up. If there's a trade, I take it. If there's not a trade, I walk away. Tomorrow's another day. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to, nothing's going to fall off me if I don't take a trade today. Okay, guys. Then there's a bonus for the guys that, the overachievers, the guys that are like, hey, we're going to do this big time. So, so for the next 5 trading days, I want you to focus on that. Then Here is a checklist to make sure that you've done everything that you need to do. And then here is your final thought, guys. So this is your workbook for session number 2. Okay, guys. So what's going to happen now is this workbook is going to go under the workbook in the psychology lab for you guys. And then tonight's session. So let me stop that because we are done with that now. So I don't need to record any further. Okay, so let's stop that. Okay, there we go. So that